to know why politics is fucking personal? You want to know why you do not support me if you voted for Donald Trump? I'll tell you why. Today, and this is how, by the way, when people ask, oh, is the administration actually going to impact your life? The answer is yes. Today, I go to pick up my PrEP. This is a medicine I take every day to help prevent me from contracting or spreading the disease of HIV. My pharmacist pulls me aside and says, hey, I'm going to write you out the dosages you should take in case this information goes away. I looked at him and I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, Trump's administration is working hard to remove all of this information from the CDC website. You're telling me in all the chaos that is going on in the world, this administration is now focused on removing materials that can help educate a disease that has killed 42.3 million people. 42.3 million people have died from AIDS. And you know who's impacted the most? Men who hook up with men and racial minorities, and also people who live in the South, which is just funny considering where those states tend to vote. This is not a Republican versus Democrat issue. In fact, George Bush was a huge advocate for getting information on HIV put onto the CDC website. This is something that Trump's administration has been doing in particular. If you voted for this man, you do not care about LGBTQIA. You do not care about, honestly, human rights or humanity in general. Why are we trying to remove information about the spread of one of the most volatile diseases that has ever graced the planet? I'm having a pharmacist look me in the eye and say, you might want to get back stock of this. It might not be available for that much longer. Now, we are taking away resources that can help continue the amazing strides that we have made to stop this disease from spreading. And it doesn't just impact the gays, bitches. It impacts everybody. So if you have a gay friend, a gay person in your family, and you voted for Trump, just know you're voting against them. And the fact that I even have to say that as if, oh, you need to know someone gay to give a fuck about someone's human rights just shows the fucking shit show we are in this country. Disaster.
I have a confession that I don't want to make. I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. I voted for Trump. And yes, I am a multiracial, owner of a trauma institute, mom of a non-binary kiddo, and somebody who works in like the social justice, social work spaces, helping people with trauma.
If you voted for him, you were not a safe space. Now let me sum up your video really quick, because you went on a 9-minute justification tour trying to convince people to still like you after you telling the world that you voted for Trump.
After I say this, that you still like me. I hope you still like me.
I'm going to dive into it and tell you exactly why that's wrong. You voted for a man who was not only convicted of SAing a woman, but who also brags about SAing women. And me, as a survivor of SA, I would never feel comfortable going to a trauma center and working with trauma specialists as yourself, knowing that you supported a man who does that. You voted for a man who has decades of recorded racism in his past. You being a multiracial woman of color, what does that make you feel like? You voted for a man who's doing everything he can to make it so women don't have choices over their own bodies. And the one that you should be really concerned about is that you voted for a man who's trying to erase an entire community of people, a community that makes up less than 1% of the entire population, because you said,
owner of a trauma institute, mom of a non-binary kiddo.
Not even for your own child. I wonder when your child grows up to be an adult, if they realize that you voted against their own interest. And after all that, the comment section is never wrong, because nobody has to continue liking someone for voting to harm other people, because that's what your vote meant.
2024 election was not a political difference. It was a moral difference about humanity, values, cruelty, and discrimination. And that's why friendships are ending, because people believe they no longer share the same basic values. So let's have a look. Please like and hype the video and let me know your thoughts in the comments, all right? Let's get into it.
Just a little housekeeping real quick. If you voted for Trump and continue to support this administration, I have zero respect for you, and I will not be friends with someone who I do not respect.
I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. I voted for Trump. And yes, I am a multiracial, owner of a trauma institute, mom of a non-binary kiddo.
The fact that you voted against your own child tells me quite a bit. Your own child. So I'm not even going to address that because, okay. I wanted to talk to people who think like her. She said that she felt like she was voting between a rock and a hard place. I don't understand how you could see those things as a rock and a hard place, but she said that the thing that pushed her to vote for Trump was because the side that is considering themselves to be, you know, understanding and accepting were saying, you know, like horrible things. And I kind of want to address that in particular. And I think the frustration, and even still with the liberals, as people would say, being more accepting, a lot of us are still very strong-willed, right? And I think for us, it's kind of like how it gets to a level of frustration where it's like we're literally screaming inside of our heads all the time, nonstop. And it's like the chaos that's already ensuing, that's about to happening, and the stuff that's about to happen. And we're just like, how do you not see it? And I think that's what's so frustrating. It's like, how could you not see it? It's like Trump supporters now that have been fired and they're like, they don't care about my merit. We said that. So I think it's like that thing. It's like, we knew that. We literally knew that. We literally said that. So I think that's where some people's frustration come in. Now, I definitely don't agree with, you know, telling people you don't know to go on unalive. I don't agree with you telling anyone to go unalive themselves, but definitely talking to strangers, like, it's like, okay, you know what? All I can do is put my hands up. Okay, don't worry. We'll all learn this lesson together. But I think that's where it's so frustrating watching these people now that voted for Trump. We see people, I've seen videos of Hispanic Trump supporters. I mean, like a Mexican Trump supporter with the thickest accent saying that he got stopped by ICE and put in cuffs, and it wasn't until they saw his identification that they believed him. He's like, oh, I thought they were going to be looking for the bad ones. How would they know? How would they know? Do you think these people, and the fact that y'all think a country like this that has been stereotypical, that has been racist, the same administration that said the only thing Mexico sends over here is criminals and drugs, you think that administration genuinely cares about Mexican Americans, about any immigrant from any background, whether your status is legal or not? And then now we have people who are advocating against Kamala, saying do not vote for Kamala, come on the line, because that young man was arrested and now being detained God knows where. She came online and said and called us bootlickers. Well, let's see if you bootlickers have any sense of morality. Y'all are why we're in this fucked up position now. Y'all, the fact that you put us here and then come and say, how about like you bootlickers, let's see if y'all have any morals. I can't remember the young man's name, and I don't want to butcher his name, but the young man that was arrested for protesting. You want to know who would have not locked him up for protesting? Kamala. You want to know who would not be dismantling the Department of Education? Kamala. You want to know who would not been firing veterans for no fucking reasons? Kamala. You want to know who would not be laying off 80,000 federal employees? Kamala. You know who would not be instigating a turf war with our allies? Kamala. But because some Democrats said some mean things to you, you voted against your own children's rights. And because you hate black women, you've voted against your own rights. Farmers coming online saying how they're going to lose their farms, voted against their rights because they wanted a white man back in power. Women voting against their own rights. So I think it's like, for those of us who are able to read the room, Honestly, sometimes like I try to like stay away from this topic, but you know what, another he does like the eggs and something podcast, I can't remember, I'm so sorry, I have the worst memory, I apologize, or is it grits and something, I don't know, if I find it I'll like link it or whatever, but he said something that like kind of like made it click for me today, and he's like, you cannot argue with these people, you cannot argue with these, there's no logic, there is no logic. And it's like those who see the ways of their, like those who are being affected by their vote now would still vote for him, because they would rather be fucked over in the ways that they are being fucked over than allow certain demographics to live fairly, because not supersede them, not pass them, live fairly. And that is so aggravating. It's like some days, like lately I haven't even been posting as much, because it's like, as much as, you know, we say like black women are gonna rise, it's like I have children in this world, and I can't not care. I cannot not care. I can't stop thinking about it, because I think about my children's future. I think about what life they're gonna live. I think about like the fact that their generation will have to be fixing what our generation is doing. Like I think about that all the time, and it's like, how did people not see this? Like, how did you know that this man hates trans people, like non-binary, like that whole ideology? He hates it. His base hates it. They advocate for Christian nationalism, and you have a non-binary child, and you, like, as a mom, I want to scream. Like, you're so overwhelmed with emotion, you're almost like void of emotion. It's like I feel like I'm a zombie some days. Like, just I can't.
Why I don't talk to my sister anymore, nor why she doesn't talk to me. So let's get right into it. So see, my mom and my stepdad were big Republicans, and so was she. And when my mom had my sister back in 2001, they were very, very against Obama during his whole campaign coming up in 2008. My sister started to be about 8 or 9 at that point. And as time got on her, they just kind of kept indoctrinating her to when then she found out that, you know, I didn't really lean to the right that much, and I was kind of becoming my own way. She wanted to have nothing to do with me. And to this day, because my sister's a Republican and my mom was a Republican, my stepdad was a Republican, she has not spoke to me. I've not spoke to my sister. I spoke to her in 2017 when my mom passed away. And that's been the last time that I've spoken to her, and probably won't ever speak to her. Not because I won't. I don't care. I'd talk to her in a heartbeat. But yeah, Republicans, they just have a way about them. But here's the thing. They talk about Christianity and they talk about loving everybody and wanting to follow the Bible, but then they'll turn their back on their families. Come and get me, Trumpers.
This was not like previous elections where people argued over taxes and the economy. It was a question of values, about how we treat other human beings. If someone supports policies that takes away other people's human rights, separate families, or even celebrate other people's suffering, many people feel that that is not politics. That is about that someone's character. Because if someone believes that immigrants deserve less compassion, or they support policies that separate families, if they think that some people, they matter less because of where they were born, their race, their religion, or who they love, that's a reflection of someone's value, and that changes the relationship. Because friendship is built on trust, respect, and believing the other person cares about your well-being. So if a person supports policies that you believe could hurt your family, your community, then it is much harder to believe that that person has your best interest at heart. Another issue is about empathy. Many people celebrated cuts to foreign aid without thinking about who depended on them. USAID program, they supported food assistance, HIV treatment, disease monitoring, vaccinations, and emergency humanitarian relief in many countries. But Trump voters forgot that preventing outbreak overseas could help reduce the risk of disease spreading internationally, because in today's world, our countries are connected through travel, through trade, and through migration. So when you see them celebrate policies that could cause suffering, it is very difficult to reconcile that with their own moral beliefs. Elections are very important because politicians, they come and go, but the values we choose to live by, they stay with us, and they can stay with us for a very long time. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.